Thanks for keeping up with me on these important first week welcome videos. I know it's not the fun or the creative part of the class yet, but we'll get there. And once we've got this done, it's there for your later review. Like, should you have a question pop into your head like, oh, can I turn a project in late? All you have to do is go back to the videos, look at the table of contents, jump ahead to the thing that you want, and get all your questions answered instantly. Also, hopefully you're learning some interesting material along the way, like the importance of portfolio and some philosophy there. And we'll also talk about image use and some information about copyright and the kind of things that get you noticed as opposed to getting you in trouble. Okay, so let's move on talking about the syllabus. Reading materials, if you have a required book for the class, it will be listed there. And either way, reading materials will be constantly updated in the Canvas announcements. In student materials, the important thing is that you do have backup for everything that you produce. I recommend cloud-based backup, but some people just like to use the storage drives. But just know this, those storage drives will eventually go bad. They may only go bad temporarily from like a static charge from when you take it in or out of your pocket, but you do lose things on those drives. You should always have something to write with and on for any class that you attend. The other specifics for this will most likely have been covered in your day one video for your particular class and throughout the semester. Academic integrity, I've already talked about the silliness of cheating your way through design school, but there are two other topics that are important for us on that. One is that you cannot turn something into my class that you made for another class. And number two, unless you have written consent from me, you cannot use any imagery or any type of work that was generated by others. And that includes even if it's royalty-free work. Now let me explain why. There's several reasons. One is you really don't learn anything new, or you don't really better yourself by this practice. You don't impress anyone with this practice. So if you have a lot of stock and internet images in your portfolio, that'll most likely come up during a job interview and be a real negative. Right now as a student is the time to learn what makes great images by generating your own. You should be exploring your own concepts and generating all of your own original work. Now, even once you're a professional, the stock photography projects are the least fun and the least creative ones, or generally the ones that you want to avoid. Now, here's a very important concept that I don't think I understood soon enough when I was a design student, and that is that you are designing for designers. Now think about this. Most professional designers design for people who know little to nothing about graphic design. But right now, everything that you're designing is viewed by fellow design students, your instructors, and then to get a job, you need to impress the creative directors. Usually when you're being interviewed by a creative director for a job, they'll ask questions like, oh, where'd you get that illustration or that image? And your answer makes a big difference on this. If you're constantly saying, I took that photograph, I made that illustration, even if they're not hiring you as an illustrator and as a photographer, it's very impressive. It lets them know that you know what a good image is. Now, taking a great photograph is not an easy task, but with today's technology where you can take 1,000 shots and it costs you the same as taking one, you're bound to get some good ones and get better at it. You can also generate illustrations without having to be an excellent drawer. There are all kinds of techniques where you can make just simple line drawings in Illustrator, for example. And the professionals deal with this all the time. They get a client that wants a job done, that wants everything original, and they have to decide, well, based on my concept, do I have to hire a photographer? Do I have to hire an illustrator? Or can I work within what I know and solve this problem maybe just with interesting typography or a simple illustration? So this brings us to the answer to a question on the quiz. As a student in one of Steve's classes, I will not use the work or imagery generated by, and the answer is others. And there's one more important concept related to this, but I'll save it till near the end, and that is copyright infringement. Diversity is a way of life. Hopefully you're not the kind of person that is so close-minded and ignorant that you think that you're better than someone because of your color or anything. We all need to have respect for each other. That's just fundamental. Please read this statement, and I hope that you agree. Brings us to another question. In class or online, we all treat each other with respect. And related to this, make sure you're extremely careful what you have on your computer screen if you're sharing your screen with us on Zoom. Also, you can pause the video and read this statement. I really believe that your reputation as a creative starts right now. So really watch how you conduct yourself around others. Hopefully you want to learn this and you're excited about it and so on. If you are attending any of the computer labs at the college, just please respect them. No food or drink. I know we all carry water these days, but even that should be at the floor. Don't want to take the chance that we disable a computer for the rest of the semester. Moving on with the syllabus, accommodations for disabilities. If you have a verifiable disability, let me know within the first week of instruction. Also, if you think you might have a disability, visit the student services for your college. You pay for that as part of enrollment, so why not take advantage of it? I have heard success stories from students that, for example, didn't know that they had ADD, got help, and now are doing way better than in college than they ever did in high school. Some side notes on this: don't self-medicate, get help. If you're taking drugs, getting high every day just to get by, you definitely have an issue that you need to talk to someone about. Similar, if you're experiencing depression, go talk to someone. It's the best place. Start at school where it's free, and they can either work with you or make suggestions of where to go from there. There's absolutely no reason to be embarrassed about any kind of mental issue or drug issue. It's no different than having a sore back. You go see the doctor or the professional and you get help. Okay, we've kind of talked about student conduct a bit already. Just again, that one word, respect for everybody. Emergency procedures, if you're with me in class, I'll go over that. On your syllabus, you probably have a section that says probable class projects. Either if you do or you do not, it really doesn't matter. They're just there kind of as a courtesy to let you know roughly what to expect in the class. But what is really important is Canvas announcements. Everything will be laid out for you there as to what is due each week. Next section, and the last section of the syllabus, is our agreement page. If you're physically with me in class, you'll actually fill this out by putting your initials here and sign and date it. In either way, you'll also take the quiz online, which is an acknowledgement that you've seen all of this stuff. So let's just go over this. Basically, you're saying that you have received and understand the syllabus for such and such class instructed by Steve Gonzowski. You understand that it is your responsibility to maintain 5 student contacts from this class in the event you miss a class. And that directly ties in with this. I understand that it is my responsibility to contact another student and find out what took place in class and what is due for class in the event that I miss a class or a Zoom session. The reason that it's so important for you to have contacts from the class that you can reach out to is not everything is a video, and I don't have the other parts of the class scripted. In other words, each class is unique, and therefore you need somebody who is on the receiving end of the class to let you know what I said and to let you know what were the important takeaways from that particular day or lecture. Now, that is not to say that I will not answer emails. In fact, there are emails that I enjoy seeing and enjoy answering. For example, if someone says, I paid attention in class, I made sure I understood everything that was due, but when I actually got to working on the assignment, I realized that something you said could be interpreted a couple different ways. Those emails are great because they help me become a better instructor and make my instructions clearer down the road. Okay, next one. I understand that it is essential that I understand what is posted in Canvas announcements each class before I leave. That's either physical or Zoom. Each class, a new announcement will appear explaining what is due for the next class. I will ask questions to make sure that I am prepared for the next class. I understand that assignments are due at the very beginning of class, and that is the same whether it's a physical class or an online class. There's always a time listed when the class meets. That's the time that they are due. They are late and marked late. If not, you have a total of 3 class meetings before a grade of 0 becomes permanent. And that, if you need more information on that, just go back to the section of the videos by looking at the table of contents. I understand that as a student in a college class, the works that I produce may be used, reproduced to promote the class offered by the college. So your work may appear on the college's website or on my website, for example. Okay, let's expand on this agreement a little bit. I will not use work generated by others in this class. If I believe I have a good reason to use the works of others, such as an image, I will only do so if I receive implicit written permission from Steve. If I use the work of others as a placeholder on a mock-up, I will clearly mark the work as such with a watermark. So you could have an image that says placeholder on it. Now, why would you want to do something like this? Let's say, for example, I said by next week have 3 posters for the XYZ project, and you're like, well, that's not a whole lot of time to go out and take photographs, make illustrations. So you find something that's pretty close to what you think you'll want, and to let us know that it's not your own work and that it will be changed, you just simply put the word placeholder across it, maybe go into Illustrator or Photoshop, dim the intensity of the word placeholder so that it's just sitting there as a watermark, noticeable, but doesn't dominate the work. We did have an issue one time that almost got us into trouble with this. A student brought in a piece for a poster that was going to be used for promotional purposes for one of the divisions at the college, and I'm guessing she had that image in there just as a placeholder, but everybody, including the other professor that the work was for, liked it so much. And maybe she was embarrassed at this point, but then it was chosen and it was just shy of going to press when that other instructor happened to find the exact same image in a magazine. So it was very embarrassing for her, but even worse, she could have got sued, the college could have got sued by the originator of that work. Now, you will hear all kinds of crazy stuff about the use of other people's images. Like one that was going around for a long time was if you change it by 70%, then you're okay. A very famous example that if the originator of the image can recognize it, you can probably get sued. This was Shepard Fairey's promotion that he did for the Obama campaign on the right, which was based off an Associated Press photograph. And he didn't ask for permission. He was sued, he lost, and then it got even worse. He tried to hide some evidence along the way, and he was fined for that. So the important thing is you can never go wrong with using all of your own original material. This brings us to the digital version of that agreement, which is built right in as a question here. So let me just fill in the answer because it reads better that way. By remaining a student, in other words, by not dropping right now, by remaining a student in one of Steve's classes, I acknowledge that I have done the following. I have read the syllabus. I have viewed the welcome videos. I have read and agreed to the statements on the back page of the syllabus, the ones that we were just going over. So the answer to that question is remaining. We are almost done, and I promise the next video will be a short one.